What's up, everybody? Tonight we got Straight Blast on the menu. Okay, so Straight Blast is one of the most popular things that people come to us for training, and it's because of the obviousness to it. It's fast, it's explosive, it's destructive in close range, and so we get that, and that's great. But one thing that I want everyone to understand is that there's not really a time where you just say, I'm going to go straight blast something. That's a terrible, ill-advised way of thinking. So straight blast is something that has to come out naturally when you created an opening or you've stunned the opponent in tight range and you want to use your blast to bridge the gap between longer tools and closer tools like elbows. So example, if I have my opponent in my longer striking range, okay, you got finger jab, your long lead straight, right? This is out of straight blast range. All right, and then elbow, tight clinch range, this is to jam for straight blast. So in that kind of mid-trapping range that we operate so often in and love, that's the range here where your blast occurs, okay? So you've got your long tools here, right? You've got your elbows and clinch here. It's the in-between when you're opening up gaps and trying to temporarily overwhelm to get to the heavier tools and then finish the fight, okay? So this particular video, we are just going to focus on the mechanics of the punching itself and not on anything else. There's a lot more to do with it, like entering into it, flowing out of it, combining it with other tools and all that good stuff. But this is just going to be about the punches themselves and how to flow one hand over the other. All right, so the first thing we'll do is the boring part, but super important, and we'll go over the mechanics. Okay, so we'll do that right now. Thank you. I'll need you shortly, so don't go anywhere. Okay, so I'll show you guys from the side and then straight on. I want you to think of your punches, which in a blast, they are fast, they are voluminous, but above all, they are still powerful, okay? So you can't see here, but we're gonna always be in a strong base. You're not gonna be standing up straight or leaning or pushing into your punches, all right? Ever, 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 all right? I want you to think of a Ferris wheel, okay? The way that a Ferris wheel is a complete circular motion or circular shape, that's not what we're gonna do. You see a lot of straight blast or chain punching that looks like that, and honestly that's just garbage, because what's going to happen is when you hit the target, you're just going to scrape downwardly on it and get very little forward drive through your punches. The forward drive is what does the damage, all right? So think of the Ferris wheel being flattened into an elongated oval, okay, or ellipse. Our hands are going to travel on that same track, that same ellipse, as opposed to being side by side. So one hand is going to lower itself after hitting for the other one to make way through. And that's really the only reason it lowers, is to leave enough space for the other one to get over it, right? And that's what enables the punches, even though there's a rotation to the flow, that enables them to have good thrust to them. Okay, so look here, it's going to be one hand right over the other, okay? And now you can see I'm not extending fully. We don't do that. It's too, the range is jammed, okay? I don't extend fully, but I still want my punches to be as long as possible for power, even in a tight range. So I'm not gonna have my hands out in front of me here. That's patty cake punching. We don't do that. After a hand hits, I bring it back toward my chest. So it can basically be projected outwardly from a farther distance away, even though we're actually fighting at a close distance, okay? So that's what the flow looks like. Okay, you'll notice I do not have perpetually closed fist. Okay, that's it. If you do that, you're not gonna be able to use your soft tools and all your open hand tools, which is so much of what we do. So my hand will open. After it's hit, it will open on the way back, just a little, for it to hit again, see? Just enough for it to open up and hit again. Okay, so that's gonna be your basic straight blast mechanics. Obviously keep your chin down, strong base, hips back, all that normal stuff always applies. Okay, here's a couple drills you can do. Get in front of your mirror, get in your base, and then just flow, okay? One little thing I like to do to keep a check on my technique to make sure I'm operating right down the middle and not side by side is sometimes I'll actually run my fingers of the previous hand punch along the inner forearm or elbow of the punch that's on the way. And that way I know I'm really working right down that center line, okay, as opposed to this. Of course, a training tool like that should never become an attachment or disease in your skill set. It's just something you use to help yourself abide by a part of the technique that you know is important, Okay, so a couple drills. One, just flowing, all right? Another one, keeping yourself really concise and structured for discipline. Give yourself a count. 3. 1, 2, 3, following up, elbow, okay? So 1, 2, 3, elbow. 1, 2, 3, elbow. Next one, 5, starting with the lead hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, elbow. Okay, I suggest moving in with a little step on the elbows because most of the time you'll have to do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, elbow. Okay, guard hand, watch me. I know this video is not about elbows, but while we're on the topic, we might as well get it right. Right? When I'm blasting, my hands are coming back to that center area because it's just getting ready to be fired out again. But once I transition from the blast to something else, I've got to have all of my protections ready to go. So when I get to that elbow, 3, 4, 5, what happens with the right hand? High, tight, cover, and guard, no matter how I'm landing that elbow, okay? Because I don't give the opponent any gifts. We don't do that, all right? Next, hitting targets. Always important. So can I get Patricia back in here? So for impact training, we do almost all of our impact training in partner format with focus mitts, right? I mean, we do so much punching on focus mitts, and that's fantastic. But if you don't have mitts at home, here's what you can do. If you have a spouse at home who's obsessed with ordering Amazon Prime, so I don't know my Amazon. If you have a spouse at home that's obsessed with ordering Amazon Prime, go out and grab one of those packages, okay? And you can use the package as your target instead of the focus mitts, all right? Now, I'm not gonna hit this with any substantial power, but if you're doing so, especially with focus mitts, make sure you're always holding firmly as a feeder. Your head's out of the way. Give some muscle to your shoulders and elbows so you're not being blown back easily, just for safety, okay? So let's just do those 2 drills we focus on. Well, actually 3. First of all, the flow, right? Just a nice, slow, methodically paced, technically sound flow, okay? Focus on the hands, each fist hitting the same target over and over. So they're not all over the place. Like if I want one spot, each hand is gonna hit that spot. And then of course, realistically, if the target moves, if I'm in a finishing scenario, stand up or on the ground, then my entire barrel of the punches, the barrel of the gun would move and still fire at the target. But the fists have consistency to them, okay? So don't be erratic. And there was the flow, right? One over the other, okay? Next, 3 shots, followed by the elbow, all right? So 1, 2, 3, and then closing in a little to get that elbow, right? So 1, 2, 3, elbow, okay? And then the last one, we did 5 shots to the elbow, okay? Be disciplined, be disciplined. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right to here, elbow, okay? Again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, elbow, okay? Keep it controlled. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, elbow, okay? One more time, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, elbow. All right, you good?
Yes.
Okay, still intact. So remember, speed and power are awesome, but they come later. Mechanics first. Have a good night.